Welcome to today's episode on the Rachel Varga podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Varga, board certified aesthetic nurse specialist since 2011, over 20,000 rejuvenation procedures performed, international clinical trainer, academically published award-winning author. I'm really excited to have you joining me here today because we're going to talk all about the latest in skin supplement research, as well as vitiligo treatment options with the CEO and founder of Glisodin Skin Nutrients. So if you are new here, please be sure to subscribe on the Rachel Varga official Facebook page and YouTube channel and on the Rachel Varga podcast, and hit the bell notification so that you know when I go live next. And you can always hang out with me at rachelvarga.ca, get on my newsletter so that you get the inside scoop on various things that I'm up to and new research and information. Let me tell you about today's guest, who is making a second appearance on the show. Francois has over 20 years of corporate experience in the beauty industry. He's an expert in bringing cosmetic and skincare lines to the global market. With a strong background in strategic and international business development, Francois has worked with some of the top brands in the industry, including L'Oreal, Lancome, and Biotherm. In 1996, he became the VP of Neurogena International in Los Angeles, and in 3 short years, he solidified Neutrogena's presence in Asia, Latin America, in Canada and Europe. He then became the worldwide leader of rock skincare in Paris. In 2001, Francois discovered the bioactive stable form of SOD, otherwise known as superoxide dismutase, which is a very potent antioxidant used in skin inflammation and aging. And we're going to talk more about that. And he founded the laboratory Isocell in 2001. After 2 years of clinical trials and testing, he brought this revolutionary super antioxidant to the market. In 2007, he met Miss Karina Kreisler and established Glisodin Skin Nutrients, a professional line of nutraceutical cosmetics or nutritional cosmetics. Glycidine SOD is available in more than 30 countries and has over 20 clinical trials that demonstrate the effectiveness of SOD on health. In today's episode, we are going to share the latest and greatest research on, in particular, vitiligo and skin aging, because there has been a number of exciting developments. Welcome, Francois Vix. It's fabulous to have you back on the show.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Rachel.
And when we first met a few years ago, you were one of my first guests in person in my little podcasting room. And things have come a long way since then with Glycidine, which is exciting. And another little backstory is the day before you came over to my place to record, you had just actually been hanging out with Mike Tyson's business associates for some of the women's products, CBD products that he is rolling out. So it's great to have you back on the show.
No, it's great to be here. Yes, that was a very funny story that happened to me a few years back when I met the Tyson Ranch Company and their management interested in using SOD in their products as well. So we'll see where that leads us. Unfortunately, for the last 18 months, not much has moved in over there, but I hope that we can re-energize that project sometimes in the future.
Excellent. And for any of you wondering what is Glycidine, we just had a question on YouTube come through from Taylor. Hey, what is the skincare line? Well, this actually isn't a skincare line. It's a skin supplement line. So it's called a nutraceutical. And I like to recommend the Glycidine products for my clients that are suffering from acne, melasma, rosacea, skin inflammation, diffuse redness to the eyelids, all sorts of things. It's also really helpful for me just as like a testimonial. I'm a Fitzpatrick skin type 2. So when I go into the sun, I burn like nothing. So when I load up on my Glycidine Skin Brightening formula and also the antioxidant enzyme, I actually don't really burn. It's pretty incredible. So I would love for Francois, you to tell us about the main ingredient in Glycidine, aka superoxide dismutase.
Yeah, so superoxide dismutase, also called SOD, is a very critical molecule. It was discovered in 1968 by 2 American scientists, Joe McCord and Michael Fridovich. And to summarize what SOD can do, it really is the first line of defense of your cells. So when your cells are attacked by free radicals, then your cells are going to produce antioxidants called enzymatic antioxidants. They are the most critical antioxidants, much more powerful than vitamins, minerals, flavonoids, anything that resveratrol, anything that you've heard before. And those antioxidants are produced by our body. So any living organism, whether it's a plant, an animal, or humans, of course, who consume oxygen have to be protected against the toxicity of oxygen. And that's the role of superoxide dismutase as well as other enzymes. So it's a very critical function, and many people who suffer from chronic inflammatory conditions actually show deficiencies in those critical natural antioxidants. So what we have done at Isocell is found a way to stimulate your internal production of SOD, catalase, and other super antioxidants, so that you have a better protection against the toxicity of oxygen as well as other free radicals. And because free radicals generate inflammation, and inflammation generates free radicals, it's like a vicious circle. So you need that protection, and our products can bring that to your body. So it's a critical, not so much in North America, but in some parts of the world, especially Asia, like Japan, China, and Korea. It's a very, very major molecules. It has over 10,000 published studies. So it's a very well-known molecule. It's really categorized as an antioxidant as well as anti-inflammatory. And until we, Isocell, started our research, it was only available as under an injectable form. However, to be injected, it had to be derived from bovine SOD, which is obviously a big no-no in Europe, and so it could no longer be injected. So you had to find a form of delivery of SOD that could be beneficial, and but orally it was available before. However, because of the acidity of the stomach, the activity of SOD was completely destroyed in the stomach. And what Isocell brought to the party is a way to protect the activity of SOD when it's taken orally. And that's why we say we are the first orally bioactive form of superoxide dismutase. So this is a very long summary of the situation, but it's a very interesting compound. It's very well researched. As Rachel mentioned, we have now over 30 published studies, human clinicals as well as scientific studies in 10 different countries. So we've published with the top Japanese universities, for example, pretty much all over Asia, of course in Europe, in the US. We have done clinical work in Canada as well. So it's not just a French company finding a little compound in a little corner in the south of France or elsewhere. No, it's a very well-recognized product now internationally.
Absolutely. And I've been working with Glycidine for well over 10 years, right? In both clinical setting and here online with my clients internationally. So you can learn more about the latest research and more resources on Glycidine at glycidine.org. And also you can look at some of the research across many different indications, whether that pertains to things like skin and vitiligo, skin inflammation, but also cardiovascular and lung health. And there's just a huge diversity of publications that Glycidine has been involved in. And I remember you told me something really interesting a couple years ago, that for the most part, Glycidine doesn't even have to do their own research because other companies want to do it for you, essentially. So this is the concept of third-party independent lab testing. And anytime you're looking at a supplement, this is what you want. Anything you're putting on or in your body, you want to make sure it's third-party independent lab tested. The reason why is a lot of times manufacturers will make a product and then they'll publish their own research in an effort to sell more of the product, but that research will have an inherent bias. So that's why I trust companies like Glycidine that have just, oodles of third-party independent lab testing. So what does that look like for you as the founder? What is that like when you have all these companies saying, hey, we want to research your product for you, and then you can then share that research?
Well, of course, we love it. I mean, obviously, we are starting to be well known in in the academic world, because there are not that many companies that do have demonstrated effectiveness with an oral form of SOD, and so we are approached constantly by physicians, but also by universities, who are interested in a orally bioactive form of SOD, and who conduct research, which is great. I mean, most of the cancer research, we've never commissioned that research. That has been completed by universities pretty much all over the world, from Japan to Algeria to Egypt, Turkey. I mean, we wouldn't have necessarily gone to those countries to do the research, but the interest was there. So because it's a very versatile product, and basically inflammation can happen anywhere in your body, it has some benefits in the world of oncology and aging. Those are really the two great areas. However, most of the research on oncology has been completed by outside parties, third parties. So yes, we are constantly, that can be a university, a well-known university, or it can be a large clinic somewhere in Indonesia which is interested in women's fertility, for example, which is also an area where we have an interest, but we have, inflammation is very critical. Yes, it's a great situation to be in, because then, as you know, all this research is extremely expensive. Because we only produce and conduct research in the best, according to the best practices of clinical and scientific research. So that tends to be expensive. So when someone else is paying and doing the research, even though it might not be the indication or the area of research that you're interested, we still support them with some material, but we don't pay for the research. And our condition is that, yes, we will support you with the ingredients, but at one condition: you published the work.
It's a good position to be in, for sure. When I first had you on the show a couple of years ago, you dropped this word called inflammaging. And since you said that on the podcast here in the show, I have heard a number of my colleagues in the space of life extension and aging well use this term. So whenever I use this term, when I'm not on a podcast with you, I always make sure I give credit to you for this. So let's talk a little bit about inflammaging. And this is the concept of inflammation leading to accelerated aging. And I would love for you to expand on this phrase that I do believe that you have inadvertently coined.
No, I'm not. I will not take that responsibility, but it's a very interesting concept, and it's certainly, I believe that it's a concept for the future, because you do want as much as possible to control your inflammation. And basically what happens, and inflammation and free radicals are very closely intertwined. And so there are two great sources of inflammation or free radicals. One is oxygen breathing. So unfortunately, oxygen is the most toxic molecule. However, you need to survive, you need to breathe. So you're going to age because of the toxicity and the oxidation produced by oxygen. But you can protect yourself and reinforce your natural protection. The other major sources, which I'm sure most of your viewers are very familiar with, are sun radiation. They are very toxic for your skin. But usually people
also blue light, right? From our technologies, our screens, our LEDs in our homes.
Yes. There are many sources of free radicals. So what happens? And if you take the example of oxygen, so you breathe oxygen about, so oxygen is the energy for your cells, okay? So the cells are going to burn that oxygen. And in the process of burning that oxygen, 2 to 3% of those oxygen molecules are not going to be properly burned. So they lead to what is called reactive oxygen species. And they are the most toxic molecules. And as they are also, which is specific to free radicals, they are unstable molecules. They are missing one electron. So their purpose at that stage of their life is to find a missing electron. And so and in the process of searching for that electron, they are going to cause very substantial damage in your cells. So first, they will puncture your cell membranes. And one measurement of inflammation and oxidative stress is what we call lipids peroxidation. And that's what lipid peroxidation measures the damage in your cell membranes. But once those molecules have started to puncture the cell membranes, they are going to go for the core of your cells, and they are going to damage that part. And while they do that, they will damage your DNA. And if your DNA is damaged, then it will prevent your cells from duplicating themselves in a homothetic ways. So you have proliferation of not homothetic cells, which means that can lead to accelerated aging, or it can lead to cancer. So that's why it's a little bit, if you look at a movie, and in a movie you have 24 images per second. So if you start cutting one image, it doesn't make much difference. But when you start cutting many images, then you don't understand the movie. That's exactly what happens with your cells. And that's the toxicity of free radicals. So that's why Mother Nature is well organized to limit and to limit those free radicals. Your body is going to produce SOD and then other antioxidants. However, with age, your body doesn't function as well. So that's when we step in, because we are going to provide some immunostimulation and regulation of your internal SOD and internal antioxidants.
Mm-hmm. And I remember when we first met in person, and you said something that kind of blew my mind. You said that, and I didn't quite believe you at first. I was like, this is just too good to be true. But you said that one molecule of SOD can neutralize up to a million to a billion free radicals. And traditionally, when we're looking at taking like a vitamin C or a vitamin E supplement, it's one molecule of the vitamin C or E to neutralize one free radical. So that's crazy. And, maybe just expand on that.
Yeah, so it's that's the difference between what we call enzymatic antioxidants, and they are produced naturally by your body, and non-enzymatic or chemical antioxidants, such as vitamins, minerals, and so on, which you take through food. Food will bring you those antioxidants. However, when one vitamin, molecular vitamin, is in contact with one free radical, then the free radical will try to grab its missing electron on the vitamins and neutralize the vitamin. So the vitamin is spent, so it's gone. When it comes to SOD, because your body has the ability to produce it, it's almost a never-ending story. You keep producing SOD and catalase. So that's why they are called chronic antioxidants. They are a permanent antioxidant as opposed to quickly saturated chemical antioxidants. So yes, the ratio is 1 to 1 billion.
That's pretty insane. So let me repeat that, guys. This is such a more potent form of taking an internal antioxidant versus, something you're just getting over the counter or you're buying on like a Facebook or Instagram ad. And I think that this is really worthwhile talking about. The fact that, what is your opinion over versus over-the-counter skin nutrients versus medical-grade skincare and supplements? And you've worked with some of the quote-unquote top over-the-counter brands, which, I'm not really a fan of because they're really expensive for what they are, and they don't deliver the results that, say, something that's made with the more medical-grade emphasis with more potent antioxidants and enzymes. What's your take on the over-the-counter world versus the medical grade skincare and nutraceutical or supplement world?
Well, it's I come from over-the-counter products. I worked at L'Oreal for many years, and they certainly produced excellent products, but they tend to rely more on the sensation. When you apply, it has to be very smooth. It has to hydrate the skin, while medical grade, they stick to clinical data. So it's critical to have, if you're looking for sun filters, sunscreen, it has to be, the proof has to be there, So certainly personally, I depending on what I want, I will pick more medical grade for their effectiveness. But I still buy some French cosmetics, personally. But that's because I like the feel, I like the smell, makes me. So I think there is room for both types of products. It just depends what you want out of a cosmetic product. And the same applies to supplements, really. As you know, the North American market for supplements is massive. It's well over $70 billion. However, there are a lot of supplements are very basic material. They are synthetic material. For example, we never work with synthetic material, such as vitamins, because we believe that for your body to really absorb the product, it has to be natural, because your body is not equipped to absorb synthetic material. It's obvious, but it's sometimes people have to be reminded. So if we we use vitamins, for example, but we will take it from acerola. We don't take, ascorbic acid or, synthetic vitamins. So always look for natural sources. It's very critical when you supplements. And the other thing is, right to your point, remember to use products that show that they are using therapeutic doses. Okay, because a lot of products out there say we have such and such ingredients, but when you look at the amount of that ingredient that they use and compare it to what's the literature, the scientific literature, so scientific literature, they use 10 times what the manufacturer is going to use in terms of actual ingredient amount in its products. And that's because those ingredients are very expensive to produce. For our melon, for example, that we use in SOD, we process 1 metric ton of melon to collect 1 kilo of melon extract, very rich in SOD. So it's 1 to 1,000. So those products are expensive if you put the amount that is needed and you have selected ingredients as the most natural and with the highest standards. Those products tend to be expensive. If they are cheap, then it's not a very good sign.
There's an example that I've shared on the podcast here before. There was this very popular colored, it was obviously food dyed, colored gummy bear that was touted to improve hair, skin, nails. You'd see all of these celebrities endorsing the product on Instagram, taking pictures of the gummy in their mouth. And then Labdoor on YouTube, an independent third-party lab testing company, actually tested the ingredients of those gummies. And what they found was that they actually tested for lead. So in the 2 gummies, which was the recommended daily amount to consume as per the back of the bottle, that actually exceeded the daily allowance to consume of lead. And that's why it's really important for you all to know that the companies that you choose to support, you vote with your dollars. And just because a product says it's manufactured in France or manufactured in the USA doesn't necessarily mean that all of those ingredients are natural. Maybe they are synthetic, or maybe a number of those ingredients are sourced from other countries that are known for tainting their ingredients with heavy metals like lead. You're nodding your head, and I would love for you to expand on this topic.
Well, that's very basic. I mean, we test all our materials for what we call heavy metals. That's lead, but that's other, poisoning metals. And when people ask me, so are you organic? Are you using organic materials? I say, we are not 100% organic because we have a very strict culture protocol for our products. And, but our testing is so much stricter than organic materials because we ensure that we don't have any pollution in our material. We test every one of our ingredients very, very thoroughly. So heavy metals and lead is like the number one that you don't want to have any trace of heavy metals or lead in your products. So that's basic.
That's basic for medical grade products, which is why I'm such a fan of more of the medical grade products versus over the counter, which sure might smell good, feel good, but are they really delivering results? And I gotta say, over 10 and a half years of working with clients that are, paying for the La Mer and all of these products, they're paying a small fortune for these things. And then I recommend something that's like a $70 moisturizer and they love it even more. And one of the other things I just want to touch on is the importance of, the implication of Glycidine for something that's really difficult to deal with, especially in the dermatology world, which is vitiligo. So there's been some recent research and development in this space. And I have another number of clients that are tuning in here for this specific episode because I'm so excited to have you share the latest and greatest on the research of vitiligo, but also other things that SOD can help support in the body for aging well.
So just for a start, we tend to produce one study every quarter that we publish. So we have a very healthy pace of research, of publication. So yes, you're telling your viewers a little secret because it's just released. We've just released a study on vitiligo. It's published in the Journal of the European Academy of Dermatology, which is one of the leading international publication in dermatology. It was completed by Professor Passeron, who is one of the lead researcher on vitiligo worldwide. Basically this study, as far as he's concerned, the treatment of choice, of reference, the best treatment today to treat vitiligo is UVB rays, okay? So what we have done in this study, we've done again, using the best benchmark in clinical research, we've done a double-blind control placebo study on 50 patients. half undertaking the UVB and half UVB plus Glycidine. Well, UVB plus placebo and half UVB plus Glycidine. So you had two very distinct groups. And I'll be happy. That study is available online. I mean, we paid for it to be available. So whoever is going to do some research on Medline will be able to access that study. But basically, what we've done is that we've shown that the group that combined the UVB with Glycidine had twice the improvement in the reduction of the severity of the vitiligo compared to the other group. So we were able to double the effectiveness of UVB. More importantly, I have to tell you, we've completed a number of studies, but I've never experienced a study like that where we had so many patients who called us and say, we want to buy the product. Where can we find it? So I understand very well, vitiligo patients are very interested. So the product can definitely improve their conditions. It's not going to treat your vitiligo. It's not going to cure your vitiligo. But it can really significantly improve your vitiligo conditions. So yes, by all means, go to and access this study. It will be available on our research website momentarily, probably in the next 2 weeks. So glycidine.org. You're welcome. It doesn't cure vitiligo, but most of patients have a real benefit from combining UVB and vitiligo. So if I have, just to give you one more detail, Glycidine is not going to promote melanocytes. What UVB does, your UVB session are going to promote your production of melanocytes. However, for vitiligo patients, those melanocytes are not going to stick because they are kind of polluted with immune response. So what Glycidine does, it regulates the immune response. So there is a better rate of survival of melanocytes. That has summarizes as simply as I can.
And another layer I would add to that. So my clients that I work with that have vitiligo, they're like, Rachel, what do I do? They book a consult with me because, they usually had a friend that had worked with me and they're like, you need to work with Rachel. So you can actually book a consult with me at rachelvarga.ca, use promo code podcast15 for 15% off as a thanks for tuning in here. And I can help walk you through which Glycidine supplement could be helpful for you. And also a really great medical grade skincare to go along with that, because what we want to do is not only reduce the oxidative stress on the inside by using potent enzymes like superoxide dismutase, but then also couple it with a really good cleansing practice, moisturizing practice to feed and nourish the skin cells with some added antioxidants, and of course, sunscreen every day to protect the cell function, because the UV will, degrade skin and the normal functions. But when you then can pair your medical grade skincare routine with something like a UVB exposure prescription from your dermatologist, and then also using the Glycidine, I think you're recommending the antioxidant enzyme, which you guys can, you guys can all get it at rachelvarga.ca/store, or simply send me an email at info@rachelvarga.ca, and I can help you figure out which product from the Glycidine lineup can be most helpful for you. But this is the one supplement line, and I also work with another omega and collagen line that my clients keep reordering. And I also wanted to share some recent customer feedback with you, Francois. This is from another healthcare practitioner here in Alberta, Canada. And she said that her tan has never come in this summer looking so even, and she is on the advanced skin brightening formula. So can you explain why someone's tan is coming in more uniform with the skin brightening formula?
I will try to, because we've never done any specific research on that. But I think you have in the skin brightening formula, you have ingredients that are going to enhance your photoprotection. Okay, so although this is a bad word, I know that Health Canada doesn't like this word, but it has some photoprotective effect. So your tan is going to be a lot more progressive. Okay, always use along, as you said correctly, along with a sunscreen. But skin brightening is going to make your tanning more progressive, and also because it contains a lot of very beneficial oils like brush oils and so on, it will hydrate your skin. And the combination of hydration for your skin as well as very progressive tanning is going to make your tan last much longer. That's what I would say, because it happens to me as well. People ask me, how come you're tan? You haven't gone anywhere? I said, I take my Glycidine every morning, and I dramatically benefit from any tanning. I don't burn, of course, but I also use sunscreens again, but it lasts forever. The tan lasts forever. But this is my explanations, okay? We haven't done any in-depth research on this topic.
Yeah, that would maybe be another point of research, but I just wanted to share with you, as the CEO, founder, and president of Isocell Glisodin Skin Nutrients, that I'm having clients reporting that they're not burning as easily. Yeah. They're having a more even tan. Their inflammation in their skin due to rosacea is going down. Yeah. Their melasma and hyperpigmentation is improving, alongside a medical grade skincare protocol, which I have them on. So yeah, Glycidine is a staple for client recommendations of mine. So I want to thank you for creating a third-party independent lab tested product with over 15 years of research, with ongoing quarterly publications. I do actually write research as well, typically, 1 or 2 publications per quarter. You can check out my latest research at rachelvarga.ca/research. I do a lot of work with periocular aging, perioral aging, and also some really important safety pieces with things like facial rejuvenation injectables and lasers and all sorts of things. Francois, do you have any final words for this very exciting and informative call we've had today?
No, well, I'm always delighted to to be able to talk to you, Rachel, and to your viewers and listeners, because you have that first-hand experience with consumer and patients, and that's very stimulating for me, because at the end of the day, I like to collect feedback. We always like to improve our products. That's why we do so much research. So, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here with you today. Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, personally, what I noticed when I am taking my Glycidine consistently is that my brain works better. I have fewer breakouts. I don't burn as easily. I don't get as many brown spots as easily. My nails have never been stronger, and they're growing like weeds. My hair is, feeling good. My eyebrows, my eyelashes, all sorts of things. So when we start to look at aging as not just buying these fancy marketed consumer products, over-the-counter products that you'll see all these ads for, sometimes it's worthwhile using products that maybe you've never even heard of, because medical grade products, they tend to spend less on media and marketing because they honestly don't have to. So when you work with providers like myself as a board certified aesthetic nurse specialist or dermatologist or aesthetic physician that is uniquely aware of how to age holistically by not only combining your at-home skincare, but also really potent antioxidant supplements, and then also, collagen induction therapies like dermal rolling, laser therapies for clients with vitiligo, maybe incorporating some UVB phototherapy. They're all pieces of the puzzle. So thanks for making such a great product.
You're welcome. It's fun. It's been very exciting. And to see, consumers and all over the world, it's great because we have as much success in Canada as we have in Japan, in Indonesia, in Europe, and that's it's very fulfilling.
Yeah. One of the other things you mentioned, there's a lot of studies coming out of Oriental countries, Malaysia, Japan, China. And one of the things I've seen in the literature in regards to acne-prone skin and acne-prone populations is related to not only their oxygen consumption, but the pollution in their air. So we're seeing higher rates of aging and skin inflammation in countries where they have not as good, air quality. So what do I have here? I bought 5 more of these things. It's a UV catalytic converter, air purification product that you can just put in an outlet. It takes less energy than a light bulb. You should check out one of the other interviews that I have. Just go on the rachelvarga.ca/blog and type in air purifier. You'll see some research I have on there, but this is just kind of another layer to reduce your oxidative stress that may be caused by mold in your home, viruses, bacteria in the air, and other particles that maybe aren't the best for you to breathe and maybe contributing to your aging process. So tuning in here, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. This is a really exciting call with Francois. Feel free to email me directly, info@rachelvarga.ca, if you would like my guidance on which Glisodin skin supplement may be right for you, or shop directly at rachelvarga.ca/store. But I'd love to help you out if you have any questions. Don't be a stranger. Contact details are all in the description box below. And Francois, when you have some more research coming down the line, I'd love to have you back on the show.
You'll be the first one to know.
Fabulous.
Thank you, Rachel.
Have a great day. Rest of the day for you in France. It's your evening now. And thanks for taking the time to hang out with us here on the Rachel Varga podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you.